Oh hey, didn't see you there. So Saints Row 3 is a great game. If you're in the community of Saints Row, you probably agree with me. It might not be one of your favourite Saints Rows, but it's a pretty good game overall. But I wanted to learn a little more about like the history of it being developed, so I watched a few of the Volition streams, and I watched the 10th anniversary of Saints Row stream to do with Saints Row 3. And there is a lot of information that people just don't know. Like would call myself a sort of veteran Saints Row fan. I love the series, I always have since I was like really young. And I didn't know half of this stuff. So today we're going to go over some of the things that they discussed in that stream and try and condense it so you just have a few cool facts to learn about the game. So yeah, I hope you enjoy. Of course, before I do this though, I want to show you a bit of context to the video I'm talking about so you get a general idea of what's going on and what I'll be discussing. So let's get into it.
Going forward, you can tell your friends, no, it's wrong. The guys from Volition told me, one, that's the proof of concept demo to see if they could actually put the art into the game that they wanted.
Yeah.
Two, that demo was highly faked and ran at a low frame rate and ran on Xbox kits that had more memory than what customers had at home.
Yeah. 4 gigs in an Xbox. Normal.
I think it's double.
It's double.
It's double. So if it's got a gig, it's got also another gig in the development side. That's what that sidecar is, because it does other stuff. Okay. And we cheated by putting some stuff in there.
Gotcha.
In fact, you can run the regular build that doesn't cheat by doing it, and all the textures are missing.
Okay.
So first off, I want to talk about a cancelled feature, and that would be free running. Free running was originally supposed to be kind of like Watch Dogs 2 from what I've seen from the video, where you'd be able to take cover, roll, do these like weird jumps, and they showed a part in the video where this female character like pushes her hands up against the gate as she sprinted down an alley, which I think looked kind of cool, but they couldn't implement it where it'd be user-friendly, which makes sense because Watch Dogs 2 kind of overdoes it, and it's not that fun to actually go around jumping and stuff. But I think they probably could have done a better job, kind of like Saints Row 2, because I think Saints Row 2's movement, while it looks less like fluid, like the jumping mechanics and how you could climb onto stuff does look a bit better. But that was originally a cancelled feature, and they did it because they couldn't get it out to a standard that people would enjoy it before shipping, so they just cut it from the game completely, which I'm okay with, to be completely honest. And talking about cut concept, we have the main character. So in Saints Row 3, you play as the boss, we all know this, the same as Saints Row 2. But the model it used to be looked horrendous. You were like an anime character, which is why they originally cut it. You kind of look like some sort of cartoon cutout, pretty much. And there is a cutout of it still in Saints Row 3. If you go to a certain building, I forgot the name of it, so I'm sorry. It's like a comic book store. But you're standing there with the original player model. It looks interesting, but I'm glad it wasn't in the game because it looks awful. I'll put a photo on screen for you so you can see it. But yeah, they cut it due to it just looking too cartoonish. And I mean, Saints Row 3 is already a big, like, scale down on seriousness. We didn't really need to play as an anime protagonist, and we'd have just looked like Nightblade anyway, which might be where they got inspiration from, I don't know. Speaking of cut things that will blow your mind, how about the fact that the city wasn't even called Steelport to begin with? Steelport was a later design name, but apparently the whole thing was going to be called Bridgeport, which I think is interesting, and I think I might have preferred it, to be completely honest, because Steelport's cool, but Bridgeport sounds kind of cooler, and it had a huge bridge going through the middle, which I don't know if that's the highway now in Saints Row 3, but it looked really cool, and from like the video they showed, it was just interesting. So like, look at all the boxes and the buildings with Bridgeport all over, like, I think they had Bridgeport Laundry or something on one of the walls, which just looked really cool. So yeah, that's kind of mind-blowing that they had a completely different city name. Apparently it was just a placeholder though, and they never planned on calling it Bridgeport, but still, interesting nonetheless. So one of the things I really always hated about Saints Row was it having no day and night cycle. Well, Volition actually gave us a bit of a explanation as to why, and apparently it was to do with the water effects. So the water on the floor when it's raining has this weird sort of reflection, which a lot of games do differently, but for some reason the way it was coded, they made it so that it had to render the image twice, and that would have been even more tricky if it was nighttime, because the image would be harder to see and be rendered. It was like a mirrored effect, but they had created the world in the mirror, essentially. So that's why it was never day and night, which is kind of annoying because Saints Row 2 had it day and night, but the graphics were completely different. I get it, but I think I'd have still preferred the day and night cycle over a weather cycle, to be completely honest. I could have done without it raining, and especially since we had no cool like weather like snow. It was always just rain or thunder or day. So, you know, I'd have preferred the day and night cycle, but still, at least they gave us an explanation. And the final thing I want to talk about is the PED level. So, the PED level they had designed the game to have, which they showed to everyone saying that we can have this PED level, was like 3 times larger than it is in the actual game. Like, all the buildings were full of people. It looked really cool. Whereas the PED level in Saints Row 3, it's just average. You know, you got the people you'd expect to be around, but it looks kind of empty sometimes. But the original Saints Row 3 from 2009 had none of that. It was full to the brim, full of, like, people. Which, I always wondered why the PEDs looked so repetitive. That might be why. They may have just had to cut all the PEDs because the consoles couldn't handle it. Because a lot of the problems with Saints Row 3 is just all the stuff that couldn't be handled, which kind of sucks. So to round off, Saints Row 3 was a good game, but I think it was just another game plagued by the hardware it was on. Another game that fell victim to the limitations with a console and had to appeal for the console generation at the time, which sucks because I think it had a lot of potential to be the best Saints Row, but now it's kind of fallen into a mediocre Saints Row that's got split opinions. Let me know what you think. I've been AJ, and thank you all for watching this video. It took a little time to get together and stuff, so I hope you did enjoy, and I'll see you in the next one.
Yeah, at least I can play the bloody guitar, man. You can't play a lick, mate.
Come on, man. Get into it. Come on.
Well, life is too short to love the one you got. You might get run over or you might get shot. Bang! Never start to study, I just got it off my chest. Never had to battle with no bulletproof vest. Hey, take a small example, take a tip from me. Take all your money, give it all to charity. Love is, it's within my reach. And the sublime style is straight from Long Beach. It all comes back, you finally get deserved. Try and disavow it, what I know it. Not working hard, don't start right. You'll be